What's up YouTube? Agent Zero here, and today I'm going to be doing a comparison video between the Nameless Midnight and the Does Not Compute, two Kinetic Scout Rifles in Destiny 2. So first, the stats. The Does Not Compute has a greater impact per shot and a much better range. However, the Nameless Midnight has better stability, handling, and reload speed. Keep in mind I have both of these guns set up for their max stability. The Nameless Midnight also fires faster and has a greater magazine size. Let's get into some gameplay and talk about the perks and what I think about each of these guns. The Nameless Midnight's perk is projectiles create an area of effect detonation upon impact, whereas the Does Not Compute has increased movement speed and target acquisition when moving while aiming down the sights. I love the Nameless Midnight's perk. The area of detonation is awesome and can definitely help with the hordes of enemies and even bosses you can be facing in PvE. It's also okay in PvP. When shooting at an enemy, it does create that area of effect. On the other side, I'm not a huge fan of the Does Not Compute's perk. You have to be moving while aiming down the sights, and while I do that a fair amount, it just doesn't feel like it helps as much. I don't really feel the greater target acquisition or movement speed when I'm aiming down the sight. Maybe it's just me, or maybe it just doesn't do that much. So anyway, for the perk, the edge goes to the Nameless Midnight. I definitely like the area of effect detonation when shooting as opposed to the increased movement speed and target acquisition, as I feel the Nameless Midnight is still pretty good when you're aiming down the sight at movement speed and target acquisition. So when it comes to PvP, I also prefer the Nameless Midnight. But for this reason, it's the higher rate of fire and greater stability. I'd much prefer firing faster in PvP when it comes to scout rifles, because that time in between shot for the Does Not Compute in PvP definitely hurts when you're trying to finish off a target. You're giving the target extra time to perhaps run away from battle or to hit you more often and throw off your shots. So the Nameless Midnight gets the edge again when it comes to PvP. Finally, for PvE, I'm giving the edge to the Nameless Midnight again. Obviously, the projectiles exploding comes to mind when I'm hitting a target. And also, it just feels like I'm able to finish off enemies a little bit better with the Nameless Midnight and stay in the battle a tiny bit longer. I don't like that slow rate of fire on the Does Not Compute, even though it does have a high impact. But because I do not like the perk adding movement speed and target acquisition when aiming down the sight, I just have to give the edge to the Nameless Midnight. As you can see from that previous shooting, even though I was missing my shots, I was still creating an area of effect, which, if I was close enough to my enemy, can still do some damage. So overall, I have given every category to the Nameless Midnight. So overall, the Nameless Midnight takes the edge as, in my opinion, the better gun. So if you're choosing between these two, I recommend checking out the Nameless Midnight. So what do you think about these two scout rifles? Let me know in the comments section. What other guns would you like to see compared? If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Destiny 2 content. Check out my blog. The link is in the description, and I do have some Destiny 2 content on there, so check that out. Well, until next time, peace!